One important thing that we were not able to accomplish, and we laid the foundation, however, for it to be accomplished, and that was the updating of Omega's history. We have relied too long, I think, on verbal history, and the problem with that is that in today's times, if you were not on the scene when it was said, and you got three people who were, those three people may disagree on what happened. And so it makes it difficult to record history appropriately unless you have a process in place to capture history as it is made. And so that's the one thing that we were able to do. We got as far as creating the contract, to creating a narrative, to even getting a draft history done. And we had a great publisher. I think he did a great job in producing the draft. We did have some questions that did arise, just as we thought. When it came time to look at the draft, there were multiple discussions about, no, that didn't happen, no way I was there, no, you were there. And so only the people who were around at that time know. And so it becomes a question as to which version are you going to take? So we have to get out of that. And we have to get to a point where each DR will be responsible annually for updating that district's history. We can come up with what I would call a draft, or we can come up with a template. And with that template, each DR is responsible for having someone, designating someone in the respective districts to update that template. It can cover accomplishments of brothers, it can cover outstanding programs, it can share individual brothers who were elected to office, or other outstanding things that happen in the district. All of those templates then would automatically electronically be housed at ISQ. So whenever a historian wanted to come in and begin a process of updating history, you go to the electronic file, you can pull up the data from every district, and then you can begin the process of edition 1, edition 2. You can begin to have a steady process of updating history. So we laid the foundation for that, and we produced the first draft. And we did not make it to full publication because, again, there were some differences with brothers who were around at the time. Sometimes we had differences with brothers who were in the same chapter, and they were disagreeing on who did what at that time. I didn't, no, you didn't, and that kind of thing happened. So in order to clear that up, we have to really adopt a process wherein every district will be working off a template generated by a committee, so as every district will be able to slot in the information on that template from every district. And going forward, it'll be stored electronically. It won't have to have 1,000 file cabinets. It will all be stored electronically, so you can always go into the cloud or wherever you want to store it, pull it down, and you can update the history. That's the template that we left when we left office. We left that as a thing to do for the incoming administration.
And also, we also want to remember too that when we put together the history of the fraternity, we can't only concentrate on the past. We must concentrate on the present and what might be the future, because you want the brothers to tap ownership into their history of what's going on. You want them to say, "Hey, I was here at that time when this took place." There was a running joke that I had with the committee when I told them I said, one thing for sure is dead brothers don't buy books. So you want the brothers who are currently there to see themselves. Centennial was a great market. We had brothers from all over come in for a week, and we had Harmony. And we had Harmony in D.C. for a week with 25,000 brothers in town.
And with that first draft that we were able to produce, and as I said, Brother Jefferson was a big part of us pushing that along. For that first draft, we put the draft copy out. We only did a draft copy of the Show Brother those copies sold out in 1 hour. In 1 hour, all of them were gone. So there's a thirst in the brotherhood to have the updated history. We can no longer just pass out books that were last published in the 1960s. A lot has happened since then, and we don't want to lose the tremendous accomplishments of brothers across this nation over all these decades. We got to catalog it, have it for future generations, and also for the world to know that these outstanding men who are working in every genre in this country, that they are indeed Omega men. And that's something that we can take on. It should be something that we move to completion, and again, have that template for carrying it on. We certainly left the foundation to do so. It has to be worked on some more, but we left the parameters for doing it. And so hopefully going forward, we will get to do it. And the one thing we don't want to miss, and we have already spoken with the editor to the Oracle, on September 24th of 2016, a great historical event is going to take place. The African American Museum is going to open in D.C. At that event will be the President of the United States, worldwide leaders, congressmen, ambassadors, prime ministers, persons from all over the world will be there to witness that historical event. And thanks to the brothers at the 79th Grand Conclave, who voted by a 93% vote that we should be a founding sponsor of this, for that historic moment. And thanks to those brothers, we are indeed listed as a founding sponsor for the African American Museum at the Smithsonian. We should capture that. Hopefully we're going to have a commemorative edition of the Oracle, where the overall cover shot and the contents of that Oracle will be going about talking to all the brothers who may be assembled in and around D.C. What does this moment mean to them? The fact that at this once-in-a-lifetime event where you have the first African-American president present, you got the last place on the mall for a museum, and we got it. So we want to capture that moment for Omega, because indeed Omega led the way in being founding sponsors for all the Divine Nine, and that we are truly proud of. That's why my afro is gone and Ben has white hair.